Cousin Brandy, you sat at my mother's COVID funeral, our mother's funeral, and instead of mourning, instead of showing human decency, Brandy, you argued against COVID restrictions. You sat there with her ashes right in front of you and pushed the same reckless, selfish nonsense that helped create the very conditions that got her killed. I didn't say anything then because I couldn't even comprehend the inhumanity of it. It took me a week just to process the inexcusable words that came out of your mouth at my mother's funeral. And your sister Neva. Neva, you sat on the Nauvoo District 325 school board, and when the choice between protecting children, even children with cancer, children who need every layer of defense possible, or playing politics, you chose politics. You and the Nauvoo School Board unanimously voted to violate state masking regulations, not because you didn't know better, but because you didn't care. You threw your lot in with the liars and the opportunists, and the real people paid the price. Brandy, Neva, you are both healthcare professionals. You built your careers on the promise to protect and heal. You took an oath. I will do all in my power to maintain and elevate the standard of my profession and devote myself to the welfare of those committed to my care. That is the oath you swore. And yet, when it counted, when people were dying, you used your positions to undermine safety measures, to spread misinformation, to contribute to an environment that got people killed, including my mother. And do I get an apology? Do I get even the bare minimum acknowledgement of what your choices led to? No. Instead, I get silence. I get treated like I am the problem. Brandy, your husband Paul didn't even respond to me when I said hello at Easter last year. So I have to ask, what did I do to you? What could I possibly have done that would even begin to compare to what you did here, to what I lost, to what you helped take from me? For 3 years, I have swallowed my grief, buried my rage, and protected your feelings over the truth. I have sat in silence while you rewrote reality to make yourselves feel better, while you ignored the consequences of your actions, while you carried on as if my mother's death was just a bad luck and not the direct result of the reckless environment you helped create. And now, even as I grieve my father, likely taken by long COVID, the rippling aftershock of the very thing you downplayed, I still have put your comfort over my mental health. I have held my tongue while you haven't spared a single thought for what I've lost. You don't even blink. You don't even care. After all you've done and said, I have still been willing to treat you like family. I still protected your feelings, though you show no concern for mine. Well, I'm done. I will not break myself just to make it easier for you to live with what you've done. In this small town, Nauvoo, Illinois, where there is no doctor, people like you are looked at as experts. They trusted you. You were given that power, that responsibility, but you didn't earn it. You took advantage of it. And all the while, you sit in your fancy houses on the hill, living a life of privilege and comfort, while you and the choices you made contributed to the suffering and death of people like my mother and father. You think you're above it all, above the consequences, but there are no free passes here. Not anymore. I lost my mother because people like you turned public health into a political game to help your cult leader, because facts didn't matter to you, because owning the libs was more important than saving lives. And even after all of that, you still had the audacity to shun me. I need you to understand something. This is not some difference of opinion. This is not just some political argument. This is about real consequences, real people, real deaths. And I will not let your silence be the final word, because my mother Betty deserved better. And so did every single person who died because of the lies you helped spread. And I hope that you can hear our grandfather's voice in mine. I hope you can see his anger in my face, because he is raging through me. He stands with me in this fury, in this grief, in this undeniable truth that you all refuse to face. And if your conscience doesn't work, if you're so vacuous that even this won't bring you to reason, then I will be your conscience. I will be that voice that tells you that you were wrong. I will be here to remind you of what you did. And to anyone watching this, understand what this means. If they can do this to me, to their own family, to their own aunt, to their own uncle, then there is no line they won't cross. There is no atrocity too great, no betrayal too deep. If blood and grief and the weight of a life lost can't make them stop, nothing will. People like this will justify anything. They will rewrite history, they will erase suffering, they will call death a coincidence and call themselves the victim. If you think they wouldn't do this to you, you're wrong. If you think they wouldn't throw you aside for their ideology, you're wrong. If you think they wouldn't sacrifice your loved ones just as they did mine, you are dead wrong. And I will not be silent. I will not let them forget.